Hi, everyone. For those of you watching this that don't know me, and I hope there are a lot of you, my name is Morgan. I'm 22 years old. I'm in my 4th year of college as a philosophy major, and I absolutely love it. And I have had 2 heart transplants. And now I am going through the process to be put on the list for a 3rd one. Yes, a 3rd heart transplant. A question I get a lot, have they done those? Yes, they have been done. They are extremely rare, not done very often at all, but my doctors have said, we're going to put you on the list and we're going to try. For this introductory video, I want to start out by letting you know what I'm doing here, which is, this is going to be quite a journey for myself, for my family, my friends, and I want to share my journey and my life with all of you out there in the world that I don't know. I am hoping through these videos to be able to enlighten people and educate people and let people know, what it's really like to live with a transplant and what it's like to be waiting on one. It's very unusual and rare to have more than one transplant, especially heart anyway. And so it's not common that you are a recipient post-transplant, but also pre-transplant at the same time. And honestly, it's something that I myself have had to get used to. There's a lot involved in being both, and I want to share my experiences. I want to let the world know the truth. I want to show the good, the bad, and the dirty. To quote one of my favorite bands, Panic at the Disco, because I think it is extremely important that people know what it is really like to live with an organ transplant. A lot of people think a transplant is a cure. It is not a cure. Not not at all. Um, Obviously, as I have already had 2 and I need a 3rd one. But that being said, even though it's not a cure, it is an absolutely wonderful thing. I got my first heart when I was 5 weeks old, 6 weeks old, sorry. I waited on the list for 5 days, which is unusual as well. And so I grew up with this. I grew up kind of knowing I had somebody else's heart in my body. The heart grew with me and all of that, so I didn't have any issues with that. And I was used to this medication regimen and going to the doctors and all of these things my entire life. And then at 9.5 years old, my doctors discovered that I had rapid onset coronary artery disease, and I had severe plaque buildup in both of my main coronary arteries, both my left and right, and my one of them was blocked 90% and the other one was blocked 100%. And at that point, my pediatric cardiologist told my mom that I needed to have another transplant. There was nothing they could do, and gave me without a transplant 6 months to a year. I ended up being listed a little over a month after we found out I needed one, and I was only on the list for 6 weeks that time. Got my second heart, and then I didn't have any trouble again for another 9.5 years until my first year of college, which was 3 years ago in 2016. And then I had my first round of rejection, which happens fairly frequently in transplant patients, but there are 2 types of rejection. There's what's called cellular rejection, which is acute, and you stay in the hospital, you get certain medications and steroids, and you change lifestyle a little bit, diet, things like that, and then most of the time, patients are fine. That was what I had in 2016. I had another episode of that was more severe in winter 2017. The first time in February 2016, I was in the hospital for 5 days. And then in December of 2017, I was in the hospital for 10 days with the acute rejection. But eventually, everything was cleared up. My numbers were looking good. blood work, heart function, kidney function, all of that. I was looking great. And then somewhere in the summer of 2018, I caught a virus or something. We actually don't know um, what happened. I just know that in May I started to not feel well, not be able to eat, not be able to sleep. I was tired. I was, lethargic. I didn't. Everything was a lot of effort. I was really swollen. And then in July, I went back to the hospital, and my cardiologist saw signs of acute cellular rejection, the very beginning stages of it. So I stayed in the hospital for a couple of days on some IV medication. I was sent home, and he thought I would be fine. About a week later, all of my symptoms came back. I started feeling terrible. Um, not eating, not sleeping, getting sick every time I ate, um, not sleeping at night, but yet being tired all the time and wanting to sleep all the time. And at the end of July, I was put on a heart failure medication, which helped a lot. But by October of 2018, I was actually feeling pretty much fine. And then all of a sudden, I had blood work done one day, and um, my transplant coordinator called me and said, "We really need you to come up here. You really need to come and say you're in moderate heart failure and you're on the verge of kidney failure." And I said, "But I feel okay. I feel fine." And she said, "Well, I asked the cardiologist, I said, "Can I wait through the weekend? Can I come in a couple days next week? I feel okay." My cardiologist said, "No, you need to come now because in a couple of days you're not going to feel well." And being in the hospital, even being on the medications and the treatments they were giving me, I was not feeling well. I was feeling worse than I was when I went in. And so then I had a full catheterization of both sides of my heart done. And that was when they discovered that I had the second type of rejection, which is chronic rejection. And the way chronic rejection works is that it's it's a narrowing of the arteries and blood vessels in the heart because the body realizes that the heart kind of isn't supposed to be there. It's a foreign object, and the blood cells, one of the first places they go is through the coronary arteries, and so they start to build up um, sort of like scar tissue in the walls of the arteries and narrow them and say, all right, if we shut this down enough, then they'll get rid of it. We have to get rid of it. And so that's what my body started doing. And they don't know how long it had been developing. I assume, since over the summer, that's the thought. And my left front coronary artery, which is a huge main artery in the heart, is blocked 100%. And then my right main coronary artery had a few different places with some 60 to 70, 80% blockages. At the end of November, on November 30th, I went into the hospital and had 3 stents placed. One of the stents was placed in a smaller artery that was 100% blocked. However, it was blocked with tiny little blood clots that had developed and sort of stuck in there. And so, fortunately, the doctor was able to get the stent in there, and he said it was quote squishy, so he could go ahead and stent that. So since I've started this process and have moved because of the stents to the adult program, and I absolutely love my adult program where I am. I love my doctors. They're just so wonderful. It's kind of such a risk to take on me already having 2 heart transplants. I have a lot of other health issues as well that kind of get in the way of trying to list and how well I feel and how well I can function and things like that. And these doctors, they took a risk. The doctor that put in my stents really took a risk trying to stent the chronic rejection, which is called cardiac allograft vasculopathy, or CAV, or CAV. But chronic rejection works just as well. It's a whole lot easier to say. He took that chance. He stented them. I have been doing a lot better overall since I've gotten the stents. I also have several new medications. I have new statins. I have new blood thinners. I have a nitrate that I take every day. I counted yesterday, and I have 23 medications. I did an entire breakdown of all of them, and I have 23 medications for about 7 different health issues, or at least body systems that they're related to. I did have at one point in Riley, it was like 12 doctors, 11 caseworkers, and a partridge in a pear tree. Now I have my single. Well, actually, I don't. I have I'm my main cardiologist at the hospital, and then another cardiologist that I've been working closely with, who actually did my intake to the adult program, and I have a main post-transplant coordinator as well as a main pre-transplant coordinator. And sometimes it gets a little confusing on what I'm like, talking to the pre-transplant coordinator, giving her post information, and that's not what she needs, and it's a lot. But as overwhelming as it gets, as frustrating as it gets, as many times I get so tired of seeing a 713 number pop up on my phone for the 13th time that day, and I swear I'm not answering it, or Mom, will you answer my phone, which has happened a couple of times. All in all, I don't mind it. And I don't mind it because I'm still here to do it. And I am able to be up and awake, and I have returned to my apartment on campus at school, which is quite a feat. I'm planning on, still taking classes full time. A lot of people have asked me if I'm sure about that, if it's a good idea, how I'm going to do it, and the answer is I don't know. But I'm not gonna know until I try. So I'm trying. I may end up having to do a medical withdrawal and not take any classes this semester. And if that is, then so be it. But I tried because I want to continue to live my life as best I can while I'm going through this process and while I am being listed. I'm going to make another video to talk about kind of the process of being listed and getting a heart and all of those things. It's a little bit more of the more serious side of things and the side that we don't really want to talk about as much. But that will be kind of my next video. But for now, a lot of people have asked me questions about this, and I've said, like I said, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to be fine. I know that today I had an amazing experience. I walked from my apartment over to the campus, which is at least a half mile, and it took me a long time. I had to stop several times, but I made it, and that is really, really something. And then I made it back too, and it's things like that that kind of keep me going. Where I have bad days. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not going to sit here and say everything is wonderful and it's great. I can do this all the time. No. That's not realistic. That's not my life. And that's not what I'm going to do in these videos. I'm not going to be completely pessimistic and nihilistic and, a downer all the time. But I'm going to be honest and say, hey, today I'm having a really rough day. It doesn't feel like my nitrate is working and I can't breathe. Or I didn't sleep last night. Or, hey, it's evaluation day and I'm meeting the surgeon and I'm nervous and I don't want to do this. Because that is the honest truth. But the good and I don't want to say bad, the good and the not as good, they even out. They always do. Even when it doesn't seem like it, even when it seems like everything is just completely horrible and there's no way out and it's never going to be okay, somehow it will. And that's why I'm looking forward to hopefully getting another heart. And even though it's going to be a really tough process and it's going to really be exhausting and tiring and frustrating and all of these things, when I get the heart, recovery is going to be a long, drawn out process. I'm prepared for it. I'm already ready because I've done it at least once before, kind of as me, but I don't really remember a lot of it, and I didn't do any of this process. My parents took care of that. So but I've done the recovery before. I've done the 50 doses of medications a day. I've done the nasty liquids. I've done the giant pills. I've done all of that before, and I'm ready to do it again. And yeah, I've had some people say to me, oh, well, you've already had 2 heart transplants. You're getting a third one. And it's kind of this questioning, and I've realized that there's kind of a question of, a third transplant, really? Um, but the answer is yes, not just for me, for anyone who needs it. And I actually myself am registered as an organ donor, and I do a lot of work with the Indiana Donor Network. I live in Indiana, by the way, for those of you hopefully out of state watching this. And I do a lot of work with them. I help out a lot. I spread the word. I tell people how great organ donation is, because yes, there are ups and downs, and sometimes there are a lot of downs, but it's so worth it, because even though, I've had 1 transplant and then I had to have 2 and now I need 3, I get to be here making this video for all of you. I get to meet all of you in the comments, or if you know me personally, in my text messages, phone calls, Facebook Messenger, all of that. I get to talk to people. I get to go and educate. I get to be educated myself. I get to go on and learn and go to college and meet people and travel and do so many wonderful things because of 2 people who gave the ultimate gift to me. The first heart did come from a baby, and so the parents had the foresight and the thought to donate the baby's organs, and I got that heart. And now I get to help spread the word for other people. And then the second heart was from an adult. I was able to take an adult heart, so that person made that choice to be an organ donor. And when they passed, I was a match for their heart, and I got it. And at this point, it's been 12 and a half years, which is about the average for a transplant. Some people are, you know, need another one or have severe issues in less time. Some people get 1 transplant and have them for 60 years. It just depends. But the average is around 12. And so I'm right at 12 and a half years with this heart, and I've done some really amazing things. And I am excited to do even more amazing things in the next few years, and especially the next few weeks, months. And I want to share all of those experiences with you. I'm also going to be making some videos to help educate you guys and help, kind of clue you into my life and what it's really like. Making one about my medications, and what I have to do with that, and the process of changing medications and altering things and all of that fun stuff. I'll make one about my evaluations that I'm going for next week and let you all know what that's about. Like I said, I'm going to make one to talk about kind of the harder part of this, which is talking about, the process of getting a heart and the possibility of not getting one. And I'm so happy and so excited to share all of this with all of you. And please do not hesitate to contact me somehow, whether you know me or not. If you have questions, if you have comments, um, anything, please let me know. I am an open book, um, especially as a writer. I love being an open book. And I love questions as a philosopher. So thank you guys so much for watching this video and sticking in there with me. This is my first YouTube video, by the way. No idea what I'm doing. So I hope I did alright. If you've made it to this point, thank you very much for sticking with me for the last 19 minutes. And I hope that all of you will tune in. Will be excited for the next video that I'm sharing. Thank you.